So last month, you got to hear writing tips from romance author Thea Landon, who provided a great set of publishing tips for indie writers like her and myself. This month, kids author Clarinet Noland was supposed to be providing some new advice for those writers tuning into the show. And I'm not entirely sure what happened, but she wasn't able to, and the buck stops here. And so I'm providing you with some great tips for how to spot scammers trying to make a quick buck by piggybacking off of your work. Many of these scams usually center around book promotion and publicity, because that is often an area where most independent and self-publishing authors tend to struggle. I don't know about you guys, but I've had my fair share of scams come through my DMs on Instagram and on X, as a matter of fact. Initially, a lot of these scam accounts try to play themselves off as being legitimate. But after digging into the conversations with them, something feels a little off. Usually you can't put a description to it, but you know in your gut that something is off kilter.
I have a bad feeling about this.
With that said, here are 4 red flags to identify when you're dealing with a possible scam. Red flag number 1. They claim to have a 100% success rate. Let's just be clear about this. There is no such thing as a perfect business model. And when it comes to the publishing industry and books and the promotion of them, there are a lot of factors that can play a role in determining whether a book does well or not. While many people try to live by the adage to never judge a book by its cover, that is precisely how many people judge actual books. But there's more to it than that. You can find a person who might be genuinely interested in reading your book, but they may not finish it for a variety of reasons, including the story itself just not clicking with them. It's a hard thing to get right. Most markets have a goal in mind, but it's highly doubtful that they would be 100% successful 100% of the time. We've seen it in commercials on TV or for various other advertisement campaigns. Some things just don't land with a general audience. And if you encounter a book promoter on social media claiming that they have a track record that just seems too good to be true, then it probably is. So red flag number 2 is ignoring or refusing to answer questions or providing partial answers. Many times when you encounter one of these scams, they will front load the conversation with all of this information about what they're offering, whether you've asked them for that information or not. They might gloss over questions or ignore them entirely because they don't have an answer to provide you. Now, if they do provide an answer, sometimes the information is partial or is unclear. In one of the scams that I have recently encountered, I asked them about if they have any availability for doing interviews. They immediately pitched me on one of the 3 sales packages that they had to offer, all of which were well out of my price range. And when I asked them why they charged for doing interviews, they completely skipped over my question and started talking about the benefits of what I would receive with one of their packages. Now, I, as an interviewer for my show, I don't charge people for this. I do this for free because I want to help promote. Now, on the flip side, they might provide a complete and total answer for a question that you didn't even bother to ask them. So pay attention to that. Red flag number 3, they have a severe lack or zero familiarity with your specific genre and the work that you produce. Many of these scammers reach out to authors without paying attention to any of the details about an author. Now, in my recent interactions with the aforementioned scam that I encountered, I was the one who reached out to them because I was interested in scheduling a possible interview. But it is just as often that they will cold call by following you on social media and immediately sliding into your DMs without invitation. Where this becomes problematic is when they start offering their services, saying that they are experts at promoting books, but they haven't done the due diligence necessary to understand what it is that you produce and what you write. Nor do they take the time to read through your social media biography to gain a better understanding of their potential new client. That's marketing 101. Know who you're selling to. Red flag number 4, they struggle to respond coherently in your native language. It doesn't matter if you speak English, Arabic, Swahili, Spanish, or Klingon. If there seems to be a struggle with them to produce a coherent and grammatically correct thought, then chances are they are not going to be capable of following through on whatever they promise to you. Even if they offer a money-back guarantee or they promise upwards of 1,000 sales in 3 months on your book, it doesn't mean a hill of beans if they can't string a coherent thought together in your native language. So with those red flags in place, here are some questions that I highly recommend you ask in the event that you find yourself on social media responding to one of these potential scams. First, ask what their track record is with regards to their successes versus their failures. Second, get a little bit more specific by asking how successful they are in campaigns featuring other books in your genre. Third, ask what their guarantee is. If they can provide you with a guarantee, that's great, but pay attention to something that sounds too good to be true. And lastly, ask for testimonials from previous clients. Because in some cases, the scammer might not want to provide any references to support their claims, saying something along the lines of their clients want to protect their identities. Chances are this is bogus because if they were a legitimate book promoter, they'd have a website with those testimonials available right there for you to see. Sometimes the past client will be an account that they share with you on the social media platform through which they are communicating. Do some research on this author that they're telling you about that they've worked with. See if the author has a professional website and see when they published their last book. In that scam situation that I described earlier, the account that was sent to me by the scammer was for an author who did not have an Instagram profile at all and hadn't produced a book in more than 15 years. So these are just a few things for you to think about as you are going through your author journey and if you encounter any kind of scams.